morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Emily Machin, Head of Specialist Finance at One Savings Bank. Today, I want to talk to you about the bridging and commercial market, how the pandemic has specifically affected this area of lending, and how we hope to now move forward. Our presentation is titled Back to the Future, and that's not named because our group directors look a little bit like Marty and Doc, but because as a lender, we want to go back to looking at the future and how we can move forward and continue to offer a great lending proposition. On a side note, I'm fairly sure Marty and Doc are listening to this presentation, so I'm probably in a whole world of trouble right now. Either that or they are arguing about who is who. So anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So I really don't want to spend a huge amount of time being negative and dwelling too much on last year. Sadly, we are all reminded of this in our daily lives, even now. And actually, this time last year, I was thinking about going on maternity leave and could not have imagined that I would be coming back to work and we would all still be dealing with the pandemic. Looking specifically at the bridging and commercial market, when the pandemic hit last year, lenders were faced with tough challenges and an unprecedented level of uncertainty. This resulted in many lenders pulling their product lines, not just in bridging and commercial, but across the whole market. Given the situation at the time, and as I said, the unprecedented level of uncertainty, this inevitably led to some difficult conversations. Luckily, most of the product lines were able to be reopened fairly quickly, and actually the the buy-to-let and the residential space is still doing really well. Things for bridging and commercial have been slightly more challenging. Looking at commercial in isolation, the wider economic data hasn't given lenders a high amount of confidence in this area. We are hearing every day about rising unemployment, shops closing on the high street, moving out of the high street, lots of empty offices, lots of empty units on the high street. We're hearing more and more about online shopping. I, for one, have the Amazon driver turn up my house on a daily basis, and I'm sure most of you do as well. We're hearing about companies allowing their people to work from home on a more permanent basis, meaning are they going to need their office space now and in the future? And essentially, businesses are now having to rethink their entire models and evolve the way they trade. For the bridging market, we have to consider house prices in general, what they're going to do now in the short term and the medium term, and whether or not a planned exit will still be feasible at the end. The stamp duty holiday is giving the overall housing market a reprieve at the moment, but this inevitably comes with inflated prices and further uncertainty about what house prices will do in the long run. But as with everything in this market, we prove resilient. We find a way to move forward and evolve and deal with the new challenges we face. When looking at commercial in particular, the reality is the high street as we know it was always going to change. We've been hearing these reports for years about the changes in the high street. The sad fact is the pandemic just made it happen quicker. But there are still plenty of opportunities in both the bridging and the commercial space. We need to look now at the market towns in the UK. So the Cotswolds, Greater London, down on the South Coast. This is where shoppers still want to go. This is where shoppers still want to go out and spend their money, obviously, when we're allowed to, out of lockdown. There will be new businesses who want to take premises. There will be businesses that have made a killing during lockdown, during the pandemic, and are now ready to take on premises. We'll also see more and more warehouses turned into distribution centres to cater for the increasing demands of shopping online. And more properties on the market that require some refurb or need the bridge to stop the chain from breaking, particularly with the stamp duty deadline looming. At Precise Mortgages and InterBay, our product lines in bridging and commercial are fully open. And while we are cautiously and prudently lending in this space, we absolutely remain committed to offering you a great proposition backed up by slick service. One of the ways we've evolved our business is to look at how our sales team operate. And we now have our new specialist finance account managers who form part of the specialist finance team and who will be able to talk to you about both Precise Bridging and InterBay commercial and semi-commercial. More about those in a minute. So we have our expert team in place. Now I'd like to discuss some of the reasons why you should consider InterBay for your commercial and semi-commercial rates. I've pulled out a couple of points, but this isn't an exhaustive list, so please speak to your account manager for more information. So at InterBay, we are back to doing what we do best and can consider lending on complex buy-to-let structures. So we're talking large buy-to-let portfolios, large student lets in general, and large HMOs. And remember that all our portfolios are done on one application. We can also consider complex lending structures, and this is probably one that gets missed because it is complicated, but actually, if you can figure it out, it works. It's a really good way for your client to plan for their future. So we can actually look at lending to trusts and SIPs on our commercial products. We also have no percentage value on our semi-commercial offering. Now, what I mean by this is we don't insist on the commercial element of a semi-commercial deal being of a certain size or a maximum in size before we then class the deal as commercial. Now, semi-commercial for InterBay has always been our bread and butter. So a unit on the bottom, a couple of flats on the top, that's the kind of stuff that we absolutely love to lend on. Okay, and if the rental stacks up on the residential element of the deal, then we don't even need to worry about what's going on with the commercial side of things. Most importantly, we understand the complexity of your potential deals, which is why we're happy to offer you a pre-underwrite on cases before we ask for a valuation fee, so you can be sure of our absolute commitment to lend. For anything that doesn't fit the mould, and for large cases, we will help shape the deal for you and take it to our transactional credit committee. This is something that's always been a feature for us at InterBay and the wider One Savings Bank group. And it's enabled us over the years to agree some fantastic deals that wouldn't have proceeded with other lenders and that required good knowledge, good level of knowledge from your account managers and a lot of time spent on getting the deals together. And that's the really important thing about the credit committee. It is there to look at bespoke lending for you. Now, how could Precise help you with your bridging needs? So again, I've just pulled out a few little snippets, which I think are worth mentioning, but this is by no means an exhaustive list, and make sure you speak to your account manager for all the other features of the products. So we are still offering our refurbished buy-to-let product, which provides you with an opportunity to bridge and exit during the refurb process. We offer dual representation, which is something we've done for years, so we do it well, and we will ensure a smooth process for your clients. We also have the online calculator, which will give you an idea of the terms you can expect us to issue, but it also gives your clients something tangible for them to take out to auctions or whatever they're doing from a purchase perspective. As part of our fantastic service proposition, we make sure that we have one underwriter process for your case. So the same person looks after your deal from beginning to end. We give you direct contact to them, and it keeps a level of consistency throughout the process. Also, we can usually look at AIPs within a couple of hours, so we aim to get you a quick decision every time. So loan sizes from 50,000. And actually, we can now look at large loans in Precise. Because Precise are now part of One Savings Bank group, that means we can send deals into credit committee and actually look at some deals that are much larger than things we may have been able to do for you before. Most importantly, we have a huge wealth of experience with our bridging proposition. So you can rest assured you're in good hands when you deal with us. And speaking of good hands, here are our fantastic specialist sales team. Now, they will absolutely crucify me for publishing their pictures, but I want to make sure that you know who you're dealing with. So we've got Davey, Chrissy, Simon and Steve. Probably some names you've come across before, all of them huge amount of experience in the bridging and commercial space. So I mentioned this earlier, but this is one of the ways that we've evolved our business. And it's all part of our commitment to offering you a 5-star service. Half of the team are on the virtual stand today, so please feel free to pop by and ask them any questions you have. If you can't make it to the stand, all of their contact details can be found on the Precise website and also the InterBay websites. So to finish off the session today, I think it's important to say that our market has faced challenges before. And although this one has probably affected us more than anybody could have predicted, now is the time for evolution, not revolution. So rest assured, at Precise Mortgages and InterBay, we will continue to listen to your feedback, and we will continue to evolve our proposition across bridging and commercial in line with what you need from us as a lender. We will continue to be cautious and make sure we're lending prudently, and we will continue to watch the macros. However, when the time is right and when the macros say it's a good thing to do, we will make changes and improvements, and we will continue to do this. And actually, just this week, we've aligned the term on our non-regulated bridging proposition to our regulated bridging proposition. And we have strong backing from our real estate team and our underwriters to make sure we can continue to look at deals that are outside the box. We are absolutely 100% committed to offering you great service from an award-winning lender. Thanks for listening, and I will now happily answer any questions you have.